We're very efficient getting ready for today's show. Very efficient.
Yeah. Straight
no
into
time
it.
was wasted.
Straight into it.
At all. Stephen will not be home at the time you thought you were going to.
We took a whole 10 minutes putting this show together. This the show part.
What about the gibbering in between that went on?
Yeah, well, you know.
Also,
that's what happens.
A lot of nuts.
Yeah. Righty.
Peanuts, apparently, I'm all in on. Cashews are a yes. Almonds are
mixed nuts.
Maybe not.
You've never had a peanut before?
I don't.
You've been called a peanut a few times.
I'm worried that I'm now going to become the guy that eats the nuts when they hand them out on a plane.
You don't do that?
No, what's that doing? Nuts? Go away.
You got to expand
Take that
your
away
horizons,
from me,
mate. So when do they offer you? Do Virgin offer you nuts? Do they?
You know, like
when you're on United and stuff, yeah.
There's always
almonds.
Yeah.
It's like almonds, cashews. There's cashews in it. You like cashews.
Mate, I just thought they were nuts.
Cashews are the ones that look like a banana.
I didn't know there were multiple types of nuts.
Cashew looks like a little banana. That's
my go-to.
Visual reference.
That's
you like
my
the
go-to.
cashews, You like them. Yeah.
Is there no other nut that could be confused with a cashew?
No.
Because I don't want to grab some horseshoe nut and find out that it's some weird thing.
Horseshoe nut, no. That's the only
It's more
one,
of a horseshoe than a banana.
Well, it's not quite as. It doesn't form a U shape. It's more
pretty close. Some
like
of those.
a banana, mate.
Get one out.
I'm not
going
to argue cashews with you, okay?
You've done it before.
A long time.
First time for everything. Hey, you choosing not to argue?
Well, yeah. Not about nuts, mate, because they'll think we're nuts.
I think they already do.
Wow. What else is going on, mate?
No, I've got nothing.
Yeah. EV podcast, by the way.
Going very
great
well.
Guns. Yeah.
Big numbers.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Very good start to the EV. And did you make a face then, or it is going pretty well?
No,
it is. Don't.
No, it is going well.
Take our word for it.
I also think
it's every Monday in your feed, by the way.
In your feed.
Every
First
Monday.
thing as you wake up Monday morning, it'll be there for you.
Kick off your week with two blokes talking
electric
cars.
I programmed it, and then I went, I don't know if I did that right. And then I went, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing
about that. Yeah.
It's
this
the right
week,
time.
On the movie podcast, you got Rush Hour as well. Great movie.
Right.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's that one.
Which one's that?
Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
I feel like
which
there
goes
was
live this week.
A new review.
A new review of Two Blokes.
Yes. Maybe.
Was there
6th of February. That feels newish.
Newish?
6th of February.
It was last week.
Maybe. Have you read it? Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Top podcast from Chef E-Dogs.
Yeah, I did.
5 stars.
Yeah. Go.
Have we read it out?
No, you haven't.
Oh, you've seen it, though?
I've seen it, though.
This is one of the best listening in on two mates having a good time. But if you could listen in on one.
Before we hit record, if you'd listen to that conversation, yeah. But
anyway.
Yeah. That's why we weren't recording earlier.
I'll start again. This is one of the best listening in on two mates having a good time chatting on about anything and everything, giving out great advice and knowledge. Keep it up, guys. Thank you so much.
Love it.
That's wonderful.
And we have promised any 5-star review, we are going to read it out on the show. Did we say that?
As long as it's a guarantee.
Bring it on. 5 stars.
Mate, you're making promises that don't cost anything, so that's pretty good.
There you go.
Here's the problem. Just so you know, for the non-podcasters of the world, you don't get an alert. Like we don't get an email that says new review.
Yeah.
We have to go and check.
We've got to check it, yeah.
And I'm not good at that.
We check.
I've been checking a bit lately on the EV because there's been some very nice ones on the EV podcast. We really appreciate that, which offsets Ryan McArdle, who was negative. But that's okay, mate. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Stephen's not happy, but your facial expression there was solid. You're lucky I'm going to forget to edit back and find that in the edit, but it was pretty solid.
I'll try to recreate it for the thumbnail for you.
Go. Oh, no.
For the thumbnail later.
We go to a lot of effort for this video.
The thumbnail is an important part of the workflow.
Yeah. Next week's going to be a problem. Can I tell you right now?
Why is that?
Well, we're going to record a day earlier.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, that's right.
I've got the Today Show early in the morning and then a flight to Europe. Mate.
That night?
How I'm going to turn all this around. No, the next day, the Wednesday.
It's the next day. The flight's the next day.
Edit. Yeah, but I've got the Today Show and then the flight.
On
the
next
Wednesday.
Morning. On the Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're going to have a late night Tuesday. What can I tell you? Yeah. Sleep on the plane, mate.
I don't get to see my family? That's cool.
Well, they're going to be asleep while you're still working and putting up the podcast. What can I tell you? Dry your eyes, princess. Come on.
The EV show was like it nearly. I've embraced TeamViewer.
Yeah.
You know TeamViewer, the remote access software. I've installed that on the Mac Studio.
Yeah.
And so when I was in Melbourne last week, I was just dialing in to grab like thumbnails and things. I was able to.
Because Trevor forgot to put it in the Dropbox.
Oh, mate, some of us. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's the workflow, mate. I tell you, the workflow.
Where's
your checklist?
It was all thrown out of whack.
Checklist.
It was all thrown out of whack by upload issues with the Spotify
so
thing.
What are you saying? Under pressure, you struggle, do you? Under pressure?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm the opposite, mate. It takes pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always think, I'm the opposite.
It's not quite there yet.
You know.
If you think this is a diamond,
you know what I mean.
You need new mirrors. Someone's been through your house with an axe and smashed all the mirrors.
In all seriousness, whenever I'm faced with like a tough situation, a tough thing I've got to do, it's going to be pressure on me. That's what I think of. It takes pressure to make a diamond.
No, I think I'm pretty good under pressure.
Yeah.
I'm just like when things go when a process goes off the rails for some reason, and other things interrupt it, and you can't stop those other things, then you
understand.
It all goes haywire.
Understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Understand. Right? Yeah. We all deal with stress in different ways.
Did you know that this is going to be the most random thing you hear all week? That Mitre 10 was formed by 10 people in a pub in Melbourne called the Mitre.
Really?
Yeah.
The Mitre 10. Makes sense.
They went, what are we going to call it? And they were at the Mitre. They go, we'll just call it the Mitre 10. Mitre 10.
There's 10 of us?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, that's anecdotal. So I'll be honest, I haven't researched that at all.
We've had a similar sort of naming convention for Two Blokes Talking Tech. So 10 blokes at the Mitre, 2 blokes talking tech. That's what I reckon. How long has Mitre 10 been around?
A fair while,
less than 13 years?
A little bit longer, yeah. So we're going all right.
And we're getting close to our anniversary too, by the way.
We're going to be it's next week, isn't it?
One more week, yeah. Next week, next Tuesday.
It's actually on the Tuesday.
No, it's a couple of days earlier than that. Yeah, was it the 22nd?
Don't know.
24th.
We need a historian to look that up.
Around there.
A podcast historian. Imagine someone put on LinkedIn that they're a podcast historian.
There'd be there's a lot to excavate for the 2 blokes.
But then again, history is everything that happened prior to now.
That's it.
Yesterday is history.
So what you just said, that's history. That was a few seconds ago. That's history. So you made history.
I'm just going to Google quickly, right? I'm going to Google.
Great podcast.
In inverted commas, right?
Yeah.
Podcast.
On your new
historian.
Chromebook, eh?
Podcast historian.
Yeah. Is there such a thing?
Harrison, there's nothing obvious, to be honest. And I've done it in inverted commas, and it's given me some rubbish results just quietly. Like, that don't really... I found the podcast historian. No, I'm going to tell you.
There's a profession, you reckon?
There's a profession to be made.
That people are going to take up?
Okay. I don't think so. Because the problem with podcasting is there's so much of it.
Yeah.
That you couldn't, as an individual...
Who was the very first podcaster? Who would that have been? I remember when the term was coined. I remember when I had my Connect lift out.
Yep.
And I remember early podcasters. The earliest podcasters I can remember was Merrick and Rosso.
Really?
Remember them?
Yeah.
And I remember I had this idea for the cover of the Connect lift out, right? Which is with that tech lift out that I put in that made it up for the Telegraph.
Yeah.
And my idea was this. We get an iPod. This is before the iPod. And I told them, I said, we need you pressed up against glass, you and
you've told this story before. I remember that.
And then we put that inside the iPod, and that was the cover, and it was great. And I remember Merrick, who I still, if he still, we take it A to each other when we see each other. I remember him saying, he goes, mate, that cover was amazing when we first released it in the Telegraph. Yeah,
according to sources on the internet, in 2004, Adam Curry and Dave Weiner, don't think it's Weiner, are credited with the invention of podcasting. Who exactly did what is up for dispute, but in the end, these are the 2 guys who got it rolling. And if you read more into it,
what was their podcast?
Oh mate,
who are they?
A user of
Wikipedia,
Userland's Manila and radio blogging and RSS aggregation stuff, mate. I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
A software developer. Dave Weiner was a software developer,
right,
and author of the RSS format.
Wow.
Which is a pretty big help because the RSS format, the RSS, let's be real, a podcast is just a piece of audio made available through a link and a subscription to an RSS feed.
Boom.
Because an RSS feed can be your website articles, but it can also be a podcast. And that's why actually Spotify doesn't podcast. Spotify pushes on-demand audio content because they're not... They actually take our audio and distribute it themselves, which is not actually, in the truest form, podcasting is an app that reads an RSS feed and delivers you an audio item, whereas Spotify kind of bit of a middleman.
They do it their own way.
They do a bit of their own thing.
Okay.
But obviously the term, see, for me, it's Leo Laporte, the tech guy in America.
Audio podcast or video podcast?
Yeah,
I remember him doing video early too.
And he was early in the video.
I was on his show.
I'm pretty sure he hated the term podcast. Well, he used to refer to them as netcasts. He hated the term podcast.
I was on his show one time.
Yeah. He's very much like us. He did radio only until a year or two ago. He did radio every week, taking calls from listeners. I used to listen every week.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
it's what you do in EFTM.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about our radio spots.
Right.
Like literal.
He takes live calls.
He was on networked radio and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's riveting, and I don't think anyone cares. So let's do this.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Not a bad price.
With Trevor Long from EFTM.com.
Really handy device.
And Stephen Fennick from TechGuide.com.au.
Episode 620. Thanks to Netgear and Arlo. We'll tell you about all your networking needs shortly and all your home security as well, thanks to Arlo and Netgear. Great companies, great supporters of Two Blokes Talking Tech. But Stephen, this morning I opened my Instagram feed and I saw Mark Zuckerberg, which is not unusual. I follow him and whatever.
Yep.
But then I must have the audio on, because then I very quickly was drawn to the attention of it. And I thought for something a little different here, let's actually have a listen to this.
Let's hear him.
And unpack it a bit. For context, this is Mark Zuckerberg sitting on his lounge in a poorly recorded spot, because you're thinking, why is the camera so far back? That will become evident as you listen to this. This is Mark Zuckerberg publishing to his 13.5 million followers on Instagram, and I'm sure on other platforms as well.
Facebook. It would have been on Facebook too, I'd say.
Would have been on the book, I reckon. Yeah. Probably on Threads. Probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to listen to this and we're going to stop it and essentially comment throughout this, because I find it to be one of the most fascinating things on so many levels that I've ever seen a tech CEO publish. So, Mark Zuckerberg.
All right, guys. So I finally tried Apple's Vision Pro. And, I have to say that before this, I expected that Quest would be the better value for most people, since it's really good and it's like 7 times less expensive. But after using it, I don't just think that Quest is the better value. I think that Quest is the better product, period.
Okay. I'll stop you right there, Mark.
Massive statement right there.
Isn't that the most...
Yeah.
It's almost unhinged at that point.
Well, it's...
Now, I get the talking points, right? Because you can imagine... The general theory here is, and Thomas Dexter from HTC has put out information saying, look, they welcome Apple Vision to the market, a rising tide lifts all boats, all that kind of jazz.
I've used that a few times this week.
And you can imagine the marketing and PR teams at Meta talking to Zuck about doing this video, because this is clearly planned.
Yeah.
What are our key
Someone
points?
must have bought one. Someone from Meta
of course
bought one.
And like the first thing we've picked up on there is his 7 times. So they've picked that number.
Do you remember when
latching to it.
When Meta was first announced?
Yes.
It was about a couple of weeks after the Vision Pro was unveiled, and he made that comment that the best value VR headset. Remember, he made that comment.
You mean the Meta Quest 3 you're talking
Meta Quest 3.
Oh, sorry,
when
the
it was
physical
announced.
device.
Yeah, when it was, because Apple Vision Pro was unveiled at WWDC.
Yep.
Then a couple of weeks later, they made the announcement Meta Quest 3. Like 2 weeks later, it was very soon.
It was very soon.
And he said, best value headset. And you know what?
It is.
It is a great value headset. And Trevor and I have both used the Vision Pro for a little limited time.
Yep.
I've just reviewed the Meta Quest 3, and you've used it as well.
I've used others,
we're across it.
We're across what it does. And so, so that's the immediate thought there is, hang on a minute, I'm hooked. I've got to keep listening here.
Why
because
does he think this?
Because the reviews, and we can unpack this a bit, the reviews are very positive.
To be fair, what else is he going to say?
Well, no, and of course. So why is he doing a video?
Of course he's going to praise it.
That's my main point here is,
praise the
of
Quest
course
3.
he's going to say this.
Yeah.
So what else is he going to say in a video that puts him on the record, which I think is in many ways dangerous? So,
and, the different companies made different design decisions for the headsets. They have different strengths. But overall, Quest is better for the vast majority of things that people use mixed reality for.
Hang on. That's great, because the vast majority of things people use mixed reality for are things that you've created. We get that. Yeah. I don't think that's in question either.
That's the advantage. They've got quite a library of content.
Like a decade of work in this space.
They've got a lot of stuff in there. So there's people have been working at it for a while.
It's also also the number one thing that we've both said for some time that Apple needs is to create the purpose. Yeah. So I don't even think that Apple sees their product as trying to compete with the things that you currently do on a Meta Quest.
And his definition of mixed reality is being able to look through the Meta Quest, have a window open. The quality of the pass-through is not as good, in my opinion, of the Meta Quest.
Well, let's keep listening because he talks about that in a little while.
Now, my friend Kenny is actually capturing this video on Quest's high-resolution mixed reality pass-through right now. We're just here in my living room, and you can see his browser windows and whatever else he's got running up here.
The reason he does that is twofold. One, he wants to show the quality of the camera. And I've got to tell you, it's not that great.
Yeah, good, not great.
It would have looked 200 times better on a Samsung Galaxy S24 or an iPhone, just a phone. Yeah. And then they critically cut to Kenny's vision, and Kenny turns side to side so that he can see that he's got a browser window open here and something else there. Because I think what they're looking at all the feedback and reviews of the Apple Vision Pro thinking, do people not know you can do this on our device? Like, do you think that's what this is?
Yeah, I reviewed the Meta Quest 3 this week, so the timing's fantastic. And the eyepieces, so the displays are actually 4K each eye on the Meta Quest 3.
No, but we're just talking about the things in space,
being
having windows open and stuff like that.
He does talk about the quality of the pass-through and all that as well,
But like, do you think Meta think that people don't realise that you can open up a browser window and all these things?
Yeah, I think,
Has that been lost on the reviews in the past of the Meta Quest 3 because of all the other things that they've shown that you can do with it, whether it's gaming and other stuff?
Well, I think hopefully we'll get to the part where I've got the biggest gripe about
the quality.
Quest 3 does high-quality pass-through with big screens, just like Vision Pro. But we also designed it to be great for a lot of other things. Moving around, playing games, hanging out with friends and socializing, working out, and more. Quest, I think is just a lot more comfortable. We designed it to weigh 120 grams less, which makes a really big difference on your face.
I've got to say, the comfort... I haven't worn the Vision Pro long enough.
But that is the biggest feedback right now.
The biggest thing is it's very front heavy, and they sell you another strap that's sort of with a strap across your head that takes the weight a bit better.
Interesting choice of words though there, right? We designed it to weigh 100 and something grams less. Well, actually, the Vision Pro didn't exist. You didn't know how much it weighed, so you didn't design it to weigh less.
I think he means less than the Meta Quest 2.
You think?
Yeah, because they roughly weigh the same. The Meta Quest 3 and the Vision Pro are about 10 or 20 grams apart. They're not. One is not way heavier than the other.
Oh, really?
He's talking about Meta Quest 2.
See, he doesn't say that.
Big improvement. That's what I say. Big kudos to them. Massive improvement over the second one.
It's a leap forward.
Huge improvement. 30% better resolution, lighter, way more expensive though. It's like almost double the price because it's a lot better. Yeah. But I think he's referring to the Meta Quest 2.
Okay, right, gotcha.
There's no wires that get in the way when you move around.
What about that?
Big deal. Our field of view is wider, and I found our screen to be brighter also. I also noticed that Apple's headset has this motion blur as you move around, which Quest is just a lot crisper. Now,
so that goes to your question about quality.
Yeah, the eyepieces are 4K resolution in each one, but there's no eye tracking. So eye tracking, and I think he gets to that later, not in it. But despite that quality, I still found that it was still very cartoon-like when you was in, like I was playing Vader Immortal and Nature Trek and all these apps that I think were probably older apps that haven't got the resolution yet. So I reckon the brand new cutting edge latest apps you'll think, wow, the quality's amazing, but the majority of the content available to you now was built for the Meta Quest 2.
But mate, if the quality was that amazing, wouldn't the pass-through be realistic?
It would be, yeah.
And let's be real, the pass-through comparison between a Vision Pro and a Quest
chalk and cheese.
Is a chalk and cheese.
It is, it's a lot. Like I said in my review, comparing the Meta Quest 3 to the Vision Pro is like comparing a Camry to a Lamborghini. One is so much better built, the quality of it, so that the Meta Quest is very plasticky and very heavy as well. I know it's got you got to buy the extra strap with the battery in the back. Not the most comfortable thing you can wear. It just doesn't. To me, my limited time with the Vision Pro and the videos I've seen, the review videos, the quality and the slickness of the product is evident.
Okay.
This, I think, not quite to the same level.
Let's go back to our man Zuck.
Apple's screen does have a higher resolution, and that's really nice. But I was surprised by how many trade-offs they had to make to the quality of the device and the comfort and ergonomics and other aspects of the display and artifacts in order to get to that. Now, for input, Quest supports precision controllers that are great for games. Both headsets support hand tracking, but I found ours to be a little more accurate.
Well, I'll stop you right there, Mark. That is the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life.
More accurate, wow.
Now, hand tracking, what he's referring to there, and because Meta's made a big push for this, is in the virtual world, in the metaverse, which they don't talk about anymore, by the way. Doesn't mention the metaverse once. They want hands because people realised having these bodies, torsos, walking around was weird. So hand tracking came in.
It traces your hands. You can
so
see
that you
them
can
in front
you can
of
do this, and you see that in the thing.
And you can do very really simple actions, like you can, the window, you can grab it with your hand and move it around, but it's very hit and miss.
But to compare hand tracking in that sense to his precision controllers, which is what they're calling the controllers, to Apple's Vision Pro, which I'm telling you, without any hesitation, do I say that when you sit down and you put it on someone's head and you say, to click something, look at it and tap your fingers together and it just happens.
Simple.
Sorry, mate. You are way behind Apple when it comes to control.
My biggest complaint about the Meta Quest 3 is the controllers.
Yeah.
Each controller has 7 buttons on it.
Wow.
Right? 7. So there's a trigger, side button, the grab button they call it. There's a joystick and 3 other buttons.
And try putting it on your wife's head and showing her how to use it, because
exactly
you
what
got to put
did.
the right one in the right hand. And mate, it's
I
painful.
put it on her head. We were watching she was in the Nature Trek VR. So you're basically walking through a forest, and she goes, "Oh, look at that! It's a rabbit, it's a deer, and all that." And I put the controllers in her hand, and then 1 minute later she gave them back to me. She goes, "No, I don't know how to use that." And so she was just looking around, just being fascinated by the world.
Yeah.
So that to me, they could be a one-hit wonder. These headsets, the controllers at least, and that I think is the weakest point of this product. Like, I've been using it, and even it confuses even me and is cumbersome, and it just takes a lot of getting used to. And you've got to be pretty savvy to use them and know if you're a gamer and you've been using controllers in the past, you'll get it.
Yeah.
But to have the cut through to make this a consumer product, people can go, "What? I've got to hold these things and
Just to
remember
walk
these
forward,
controls."
I've got to do this.
It's too much.
Yeah. So massive fail, that comment there, I think.
Apple's eye tracking is really nice. We actually had those sensors back in Quest Pro. We took them out for Quest 3, and we're going to bring them back in the future.
Yeah.
It's a nice interface. It's not perfect for everything, though. For typing or complex tasks, you're going to want things like hands or a keyboard or controllers or eventually a neural interface for the
Controllers never happen. Apple Vision Pro never happen.
The computer, you can use your computer in front of you.
You
can use your
keyboard. Yeah, true.
Of course, you can use a physical keyboard and mouse while you're controlling a virtual screen. Yes, but like him, and then he just throws in this line, or a neural interface. Oh, okay. So you're working with like a Neuralink style implant.
Chip. Yeah.
Like, this is where this guy's vision is, which I respect. He has that vision.
Elon Musk has done it, mate. Their company, first human to have a Neuralink, what they call it, telepathy inserted.
Anyway,
Trevor's volunteered, by the way. Have you, mate?
Stick with Apple's control by hand here, folks. It's way better.
Kind of inputs. Quest's immersive content library is a lot deeper. We've been working with studios building virtual and mixed reality games and other content for a long time now.
I agree with that.
If you want to watch,
that's the advantage, because they've
100%.
got a built-in library. Yeah. They've got a library. They've been at it a while.
It's something for everyone.
But the library's dated. Yeah. The library, some of the really cool games, it's like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like this has very good resolution screens, but unless you're playing the very latest, sharpest, high performance game or content, then
I'll tell you how Apple wins that argument at Dub, which we've talked about. They need to get right. They need to.
Yep.
Apple bring out the grouse version of Beat Saber, because Beat Saber is one of the biggest VR apps on the planet. Yeah. It's hugely popular on Quest, but imagine however they do it through augmented reality, like the beats come around your furniture. Who knows, right?
Wow. Yeah.
That's where because this is the problem. The stuff's all old.
They need the killer app.
Yeah.
That's what the Vision Pro is.
They've got to bring the old stuff and make it awesome.
Yeah.
YouTube or play Xbox on a big screen anywhere you go.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
That's only available on Quest for now.
Yeah.
So, when I look around, it seems like there are a lot of people who just assumed that Vision Pro would be higher quality because it's Apple and it costs $3,000 more. But, honestly, I'm pretty surprised that Quest is so much better for the vast majority of things that people use these headsets for with that price differential.
He's just stuck in the present day, though. He's not seeing Apple's vision, as we believe it to be, is for the future. Is for the next lot of things. Yeah. He's talking about stuff that people are doing now.
Yeah, but look, to his credit, he is defending his own product.
Of course. Yeah.
And look, I you read my review. I said that this is an excellent, immersive, excellent performance. The MetaQuest 3, I said, look, the future of VR is exciting because of products like the MetaQuest 3.
Yeah.
And so if they can get the controllers right or get rid of them altogether, then we've got a ball game.
Yeah.
Now, the Vision Pro, I mentioned they need that killer app. They need that moment. Do you remember when the iPhone was launched?
Yeah.
And when Steve Jobs got the photo and he just went,
yeah.
And everyone went, what? What just happened? Apple needs that moment for the Vision Pro. They've got to come up with some amazing thing that everyone's going to go, what? Yeah. And going to want to have this. That's I think Apple's advantage, not having the controllers, having that eye tracking. That's the super accuracy of this. That I reckon I could put the Vision Pro on my mother and she could use it.
That is what matters here.
I'll say, Mum, you just got to look at something and do this.
Yeah.
She could do that.
Yeah.
But if I put a controller in her hand and go, the side button's to grab, this one's to go forward, this one's to look around, she'll go, what's this?
Oh, and by the way, if you want the screen on that wall, instead just grab it with 2 fingers and move it over here.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that kind of stuff is
I think that
too intuitive.
If MetaQuest can get rid of the controllers or make them just streamline the hell out of them, then I reckon they're closer ballpark.
Yeah.
But I think I think he's playing on the strength of the fact that they've had a few versions of this. This is Apple's first version.
And look, he goes on.
Third.
We don't need to play anymore. He goes on to thank the developers they've been working with for 10 years and all that kind of jazz. But can we just talk about now? Can you think of another big tech CEO that would sit down and talk about their competitor product?
Yeah.
And essentially, not shit can, but essentially play it down.
Yeah.
In such a way, because it's pretty wild.
Well,
I think hugely bold.
I think he's from his past. He's always been sort of this renegade sort of the guy who's sort of come up and up from nowhere and created Facebook. 20 years old, by the way, now Facebook 20th anniversary. And so he's always been a person who speaks his mind. And I think, look, I respect him for the fact that he had the courage to do this. Good luck to him. I think, you're defending your own product and good on you. I think it'd be a bigger story if it was Tim Cook saying that how much better the Apple Vision Pro is than MetaQuest 3. He goes off. I can't believe that they were in the same ballpark. That'd be. I'd watch that video too. If Tim Cook wanted to reply, he'd go, okay, that's nice, Mark, but have our Vision Pro can do this and this. You forgot to mention this. That'd be nice. Whether he does that, I doubt it.
Have you noticed the very small, but there is definitely a trend towards people returning their Vision Pros?
No.
So I've noticed on Threads a few people who are dyed-in-the-wool techies. They're just going, look, it's too big, it's cumbersome, it's uncomfortable for long periods of time. I've seen 2 or 3 now.
Yeah, really?
And one of them's that Parker who works for The Verge that actually wrapped the show. And massive fanboy, like unbelievable that you would give it back. But it's that concept of, look,
he might need the money.
No. He was called on that, and he said, look, of course it's expensive, but really? I just think that I need to wait for another generation of it or something, and it's
perhaps.
And this is the beautiful thing Apple does with their 14 days, right? You're going to find that's the window. Everyone's got to make that call within 14 days of buying their product.
Yeah, my understanding is they've set up their stores with these little sections. You can make appointments to use it. You get like a 15-minute session with it, and there's been lines out the door. People wanting to try this.
I've got no doubt.
Yeah.
But I've got no doubt.
Whether people pull the trigger, and it's funny, I wrote this in my review too. It's ironic how that Apple's Vision Pro is the more likely product to make VR a consumer level mainstream product.
Yes, but expensive.
Ironically, the price of it is preventing it from becoming that.
Because and again, sorry Meta, but if Apple's price drives people to Meta and they think this is the experience, they're not going to come back for a second go because those controllers are a barrier for many. That's a bridge too far.
Yeah, too much. It is a barrier.
Because I think about I remember the last time I did VR on TV.
Probably when the MetaQuest 2 came out.
It might have been it was last year sometime because I remember setting up the kayaking. I had Thomas come in with the Vive,
with the
Elite.
Vive, the Vive Pro, the Vive Elite.
Whichever one it was.
Yeah.
And, we'd put that on someone and they could draw in space and, walk around the drawing. Pretty cool. And then I thought, I need the other host. So Sarah's doing that. I need Carl.
Yeah.
So I ended up going on a chair with the kayak in the river. It might have been PlayStation VR, actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it was
that's the second
PlayStation
version
VR.
of those out. Yep.
Right. So I thought that's good.
Yep.
But here's the thing, and look, no disrespect to the wonderful people I work with, but they don't have 20 minutes earlier in the day to come and learn how it all works, right? So if we're on air at 7:48 after a 3-minute package from the entertainment reporter Brooke or something, then there's 3 minutes for me to tell them what's happening.
Yeah.
1 minute's wasted, everyone's shaking hands and saying hello to Thomas or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I've got to say to Carl, when I put this on your head, you need to put these two in your hand, you need to there's explaining to do with if there's any menu comes up, what button do you push? And it's just a nightmare. Whereas I'm so confident that when I go, here's Vision Pro, put it on, he'll be able to see me. So I'll be able to go, do this to click something, look at something and do this.
Exactly right. And look, and just when Mark Zuckerberg was talking about price, in Australia, it starts at $800, starts that much. And so only 128 gig. And the next stop up from that is 512 is a big jump. Yeah. It becomes $1,050, the next version up. The battery on the MetaQuest is rubbish. It's only less than 2 hours, so you have to get the strap with the battery. That's another $220. You could spec this up. You want the travel case. It's $1,500. So Vision Pro is $3,500.
So three times the difference as opposed to.
He said
in Australia
times.
it'll be $5,000, right?
Yeah,
so $5,500.
Whatever it's going to be. But the MetaQuest 3 is cheaper, but not cheap.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Love to know what you think. Were you taken aback by Mark Zuckerberg's post? I certainly was. It stopped me in my tracks. I went, this is
same.
It felt unprecedented. So we thought we're
glad he did it though.
Well done, you Mark. Thank you. Mark. Otherwise, what would we have led the show with today? I don't know. I got no idea.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
And thanks to the great people at Netgear. And right now, there are good deals to be had on their premium range products, the Orbi 960 series. Now, this is, without question, the top of the pops when it comes to your home networking. We're talking about 10.8 gigabit connectivity, 10 gig ports. There's a 3-pack here that is normally $2,800. I get it, that's a lot of money, but it's currently $400 off. $2,400 for the Orbi 960 quad-band Wi-Fi 6E mesh system, and you can get it in black directly if you shop from netgear.com.au. That's what I've got too. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not beat around the bush. That's right. That's how the two blokes rock. This is backhaul. This is unbelievable quality. This is the internet. This is the Wi-Fi you want when you have the internet to match, and that is gigabit internet and things like that. So if you are paying a premium for your internet, you've got to make sure your in-home facilities stack up as well, and that's what you'll get with Netgear's products, the Netgear Orbi series. And there are great deals right now, and you can find all those at netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Never imagined at a time you'd be able to call an Uber. With a phone.
Call a taxi.
Like,
call
what
an
a
Uber.
wild idea. So you go back 10 years or whatever it was, Uber disrupts the taxi industry by launching an app that allowed you to press a button and have a car come to you and then take you where you wanted to go. Taxi industry responds with an app that allows you to get a car, come to you, take you where you want to go. Uber in 2024 go, why are there not enough over 65s, using our app? And they go, you know what we'll do? Let's start a phone service. It's revolutionary. Ring a number, tell them where you are and where you want to go, and they'll send a car to pick you up. That's what you can do now with Uber.
That's genius, and it's something that I think a lot more people, especially older people,
can we talk about your mum right now?
My mum would be all over this. For my mother, I call her Ubers all the time.
Yeah.
And I do it through the app. And I tell her, okay, it's a red car and it's going to have this number plate.
Now, does your mum know how to SMS?
She can read SMSs, doesn't reply to SMSs.
So the only caveat to this, two caveats, $3 is the booking fee. I think that's reasonable. And you need to call from a mobile phone so that they can send a text message, basically saying he's the rego, I assume.
Sure. Yeah.
But when you ring up, but you get someone in the Philippines, whatever, that's life. You didn't expect to get an Aussie. Yeah. And they tell you, Uber Comfort, Uber X, you get the options. So you get to choose just like you do anything else.
Yeah.
I assume the only risk here is that if you've got anything difficult with regards to the pickup, like you're standing on a street out the front of a shop and you don't know the address, that's going to be difficult.
Well, won't the driver be able to still call you? through the number.
Yeah,
if
no, but
there's drums.
what address are you telling the person on the phone? I'm out the front of Kmart.
Well, no, won't they use your location?
No, because it's a
Through-
phone call.
Okay, but they can still track your phone though, can't
No,
they?
they can't.
Is that permission you got to give them, or?
It's a phone call. They can't
Okay.
see your location through a phone call.
But your mobile is just like their drivers approaching you. You see it on the app. They know where they are.
You don't
They
have the
can't
app.
use that. I know, but you've still got a phone though.
Yes.
They cannot pinpoint your location.
No.
Can you not agree to share your location?
Not
as
through a
part
phone
of
call.
the deal. Okay.
Not through a phone call.
So you got to give an address.
You don't use the Uber app to make the phone call or anything
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
You just go, I'm at 17
Yeah.
Smith Street,
Yeah, right.
Erskine Park.
Okay.
And that's where they're going to come to. So
But
it's
they've
old
got
school in that
they've got
sense.
your number, so they can call you if they're
Of
having
course.
difficulty.
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But Uber's data and research, other research they drew upon,
Yeah.
basically said that over 65s are less willing to use booking apps and things like that,
Yeah.
and are more willing than the rest of the population to make phone calls to book things. So
Exactly right.
It's kind of the
And
logical outcome.
I find this with 13 Cabs. 13 Cabs has a number to call,
Yeah,
but they've slanted it so far, and Uber's the same, I guess. They've slanted it so far to the app that makes everything easier,
yeah,
which it does.
yep.
You can still ring up 13 Cabs and talk to someone, but the app is where everyone's directed into the app. But it's
And look, if you're
Good you got an
under
option.
65 and you're running why this matters, look, if you're elderly and you've got to get to the grocery store and you don't drive and your
Yeah.
partner's, at work or whatever,
Yeah.
or you've got a medical appointment and you don't want to have to call your son to come and get you, you
Fair
can
enough.
call 13 Uber and have that done. And look, taxi, yes, you can call a taxi. Right now you can call a taxi and do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, taxis they've probably got less staff. Now answering those phone calls, and they
they're
probably
not-
aren't
yeah,
putting
yeah,
them offshore
maybe.
like
Yeah.
Uber has. So
Yep.
Uber's going to create advantages for themselves by doing it the way they've chosen to do it.
And it's
I
the
don't know.
same drivers to be picking you up, wouldn't it? Because there's no
Same
designated
cars, yeah.
drivers that are going to only pick up
Yeah.
app
Yeah.
passengers, are they? Though?
That's it. So I think it's
makes
a great
sense.
idea. It's a great service. And the other thing I noticed about Uber, because I've taken a few in the last week with travelling,
Yep.
the Uber Electrica is picked up now as a solid
Yes,
option.
yeah.
So
Seen that.
I've gone pretty much exclusively Uber Electric.
And is that the same price as another?
No.
Or was it slightly cheaper
No.
or slightly
So
more
Uber
expensive?
Green was the same price as Uber X, which
Yeah.
was pretty much all the Camry hybrids.
Yeah.
So Uber Electric appears to be the same or similar to Comfort. So it's definitely not as cheap as
So
Uber
slightly
X.
more expensive.
But I'll be honest, I'm doing very well. I rarely use Uber X. I just feel like I get a more cab style car.
So you
that's,
go Comfort,
I'd always go
which
Comfort
is
or
more expensive,
better. Yeah.
slightly, a few bucks more.
Yeah. Now and then I'll go Uber Premier. See how you go.
Yeah, they roll
Just
that
rock up in an Audi
red
Q7.
carpet.
Bloody
Really?
Jackson.
Oh, so it's like a limo.
Bloody
sort of.
Jackson's got my Uber because you want your kids to be safe whenever they need to be.
Of course.
So I'm picking up a car the other week when I dropped off whatever I dropped off to then leave because I was going to the
Yeah.
airport.
Yep.
So I drop off. I'm in Marrickville. I'll get an Uber Premier. It's only going to be $50 to the airport. Lovely. Let's do it.
$50 from Marrickville to the
Why
airport. It's
not?
right there.
What a treat.
Wow.
So Audi
Doing
Q7
very
pulls up.
well.
Jackson texts me because Q7, eh? I'm like, oh, nick off, will you? Kid's got my bloody Uber app.
So $50.
Something like that, yeah.
To get from Marrickville, you could walk to the airport from Marrickville.
Oh, yeah. And how much would you sweat in that time on
I'm
my way to
just saying,
Perth?
it's close. It's close to the airport.
It's a tax write-off. I'm using Uber whenever I want.
Wow. Okay. That's your choice. Good for you. I'm not judging
You've
you.
never treated yourself to an Uber Premier?
Never. No.
Really?
No.
Mate,
I
I
very
reckon...
rarely catch Ubers. I'm rarely in an Uber. I was in one the other day. I had to take car back and
And you
go
know what's
home
funny?
again. Yeah.
You're very different to
Well,
me.
I'll tell you, it was
You'll
Monday.
jump on
It
a
was
train.
Monday, yeah.
You'll jump on a train. You'll Uber train Uber.
Yeah. No.
Whereas I'll just Uber the whole way.
No, I will Uber the whole way.
Oh, really?
I will either Uber the whole way or train. Like I had to pick up a car of the Volvo I got now, the XC40, and I got a lift to South Juniors. I got the tram to the city. I got a train to Chatswood and a metro to Macquarie Park. Took it like an hour to get there, but yeah,
I'm
that's
in
how it
an
works.
Uber for that whole trip.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
don't
kidding?
mind, but you know what I was doing on the way? Listening to something and writing. I was working, so I got stuff done in the meantime.
Very efficient.
Yeah,
You're very efficient, Steve.
that's right.
Anyway, check out 13 Uber if you're looking for a car to pick you up and take you somewhere.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Now, I'm sure you've all heard of eSIMs.
I think listening
know
to
what?
us, you probably have.
Here's the thing, though. I reckon there'd be a lot of you listening or watching us right now that don't realise that the phone in your pocket has an eSIM in it.
Yeah, probably.
I reckon there's a lot of people. And everyone's expecting, you got to have the very latest and greatest phones. Well, you don't. If you've got a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old iPhone, XR, 6 years old, iPhone XR, eSIM.
eSIM.
And every other iPhone since then.
Yeah.
If you've got a Samsung S20, I think, and onwards, or S20, eSIM. Some Motorola phones have eSIMs, Oppo, eSIM.
Yeah.
So why is this important? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Boost Mobile now offers a eSIM option.
Yes.
And I do love the fact that their colourful boss, Peter Adderton, very colourful, outspoken boss, love it. And, he speaks the truth. He's a truth teller in telcos.
Oh, wow.
He's a telco truth teller.
Truth teller, that's great.
Because he said, and I agree with him,
Yeah.
the fact that companies like Boost Mobile, and let's face it, Amaysim, some others, Kogan Mobile, they've got eSIM options. This is a big telco's, these are his words, a big telco's worst fears. Because they know the customer's in control. If they're not happy, they could, within minutes, transfer to another operator.
And let's just be real about this for people that aren't. We know a bunch of you all over this probably got eSIM. Great. But if you're someone who is stuck in your ways and has for a long time listened to us go, you should switch, you should do this, if you've got one of those modern phones, you can, and this applies, what I say about Boost here applies to pretty much every telco. Kogan, you can do it on their website, everything. Download the Boost app. You can become a customer of Boost in the app and have the service working without leaving your lounge.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to a service station and get a SIM card. You don't have to wait for a SIM card to be delivered. It happens, it activates within the app.
Yeah.
In some cases, like Kogan, they'll send you an email with a QR code. You scan it, boom, it's active, and you've got a phone working. So you could, and mate, I was with a mate of mine in Perth who, did I tell this story last week? Who's spending $200 a month on his mobile phone for his family.
Yep.
And he's got a couple of kids, and he pays for his wife.
So that's a family plan, $200.
Yeah, and it's all data pooling and stuff. I'm like, mate, $200.
Is that good? $200?
I said that's outrageous because he was
expensive.
He was cost of living's up, rent's going up, like things are a problem.
Yep.
I said, mate, I could save you maybe not half, but definitely a big chunk of that money if you were to put your kids on Kogan's $100 plan, put yourself on maybe Boost's $300 plan, whatever. Just be prepared to switch and save.
So for the year, you'd save a chunk.
And you save an absolute bomb, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people's friction point to that change is the process of driving and buying a $2 SIM card from a servo or waiting for Kogan or Vodafone or whoever to send you one in the mail.
Yeah.
Whereas with Boost and Woolies, Kogan, Amaysim, all the ones that have now got eSIMs, you can do it from your lounge room.
Yeah.
And again, I repeat,
significant.
You can switch and keep your phone number.
Yeah, exactly right. Important. But you know what? I mentioned on the Tech Guide podcast earlier this week about the move to eSIMs. Vodafone had some data to say 1 in 4 of their new or re-signing customers were moving to eSIM, and they've got the Optus outage to thank for it.
Yeah.
Because on the day, do you remember this? On the day of the Optus outage, Vodafone was sending out press releases saying you could switch to Vodafone in minutes with the eSIM.
Brilliant.
They jumped all over it, and people did.
Yes.
So that's really demonstrated the speed in which you can say goodbye to one telco and hello to another is using the eSIM. Now, in Boost's case, they've also got a new app as well, which helps. I think that helps with the process. But it does, though, really make, I think it's going to help customers in terms of gives them the power to think, you know what, I'm not really happy here. I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
And rather than having the hassle of, okay, I've got to go into a store, I've got to get a SIM, I've got to do this, you can make that decision on the spot and be with that other network within minutes.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's so
now,
good.
I've got a question for you. Have you got an eSIM working right now?
No.
So you got a physical SIM in your car?
SIM at the moment,
But you've had an eSIM, haven't you?
Yeah.
What happens in our case where we get review phones and I'm changing phones once a week?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Is that a process? Is that this is just inside baseball?
This is a little bit inside baseball, but it depends on the telco.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, Telstra is the best.
Yep.
So my guess is Boost will be exactly the same because Boost is just Telstra with a marketing company in front of it.
Yep. Because, it's a valid question because there is going to be a day where, I've got a new phone. What do I do?
So switching iPhone to iPhone, it pretty much just does it for you.
Right.
It just goes, you've got an eSIM, I'll switch it over now.
Yep.
And I did that with, in fact, I've got an American eSIM in here. I do have an eSIM.
Is that your burner phone?
My AT&T SIM is eSIM, and I switched from the 14 to the 15
Right.
here in Australia.
That's your Breaking Bad
just
phone,
as
that
long
one.
as you're on Wi-Fi.
That's what you
But-
did Giro SIM in it, or
Yes.
it's just an AT&T SIM?
AT&T and Boost. This has AT&T and Boost, so when I'm in
Right.
Australia, I use Boost.
And you can, let me understand, you can have two separate networks in your phone, can't you?
Oh yeah,
Can you have Optus on one, Telstra on the other?
you can have,
Yeah.
mate. You can load up. You can load up 6 eSIMs,
Right.
but only 2 of them can be active at any one time. So you can't have more than 2 services active. You can have
Right.
on an iPhone. You can have 2 eSIMs active as long as you're not using a physical SIM, or you can use a physical and an eSIM. You can do whatever you want.
It's true,
right?
in the US, the
It's
iPhone does
only
not have a
eSIM.
SIM card.
Correct.
No SIM card tray. That's since the 14.
Yeah.
14, 15.
So let's imagine you're a Telstra customer.
Yep.
Telstra customer on your next phone, you set it up, put it on the Wi-Fi, and you download the Telstra app. You log in, and you say, "This is my new phone," and it goes and puts the eSIM on.
Replay that sound, whatever that was. That was great. It sounded like Kramer.
So basically, it's done very well through the Telstra app.
Giddy up. Yep.
I remember doing it with Vodafone. It was slightly different. I really don't think their app experience is primo, but
Right.
it's more about like you get a QR code through your My Account thing, do your best.
Yep.
Pretty sure Optus is pretty much the same as Telstra in the app. And so, yeah, most telcos,
Yeah.
it's
It's
pretty
getting
easy
better
to
though,
do.
isn't it?
And
It's getting better.
let's be real.
Well, it's going to be
it's a
eventually
once
the
every
only
2
way.
year
Yeah,
process.
true.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm imagining that, what do you reckon, within 2 years, the iPhone won't have a SIM card tray in Australia? 2 years, 3 years? Do you reckon maybe the iPhone 16 might not have a SIM card tray?
I think they got burnt pretty heavy in the US by
Yeah.
the process, and
Right.
they had
Okay.
some real negative
They'd have
stuff.
to prepare the telcos here, weren't they?
And I just genuinely don't think Australians are ready.
Really? So
And
it's still
I
a few years
think
away.
Australian telcos will fight it hard.
Okay.
And mate, they haven't saved any space in the it makes no sense why they
Yeah,
did
I
it.
know. Oh, these
It
just
must have
convenient
been.
things.
I think it was driven by the industry over there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, look, the other benefit is you don't have a bit of plastic. There's no manufacturing. There's no packaging. There's no shipping. It's just there.
Yeah.
So,
It's very good.
yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I still don't have an eSIM. I've never used an eSIM. I'm tempted though, because you can use it, like you've got an AT&T SIM card on it, so
Yeah.
eSIM.
Yeah.
So I'm tempted when I go to the US next time, I might just do it for kicks, just get a plan and have it as my US number.
Yeah.
If I want to use extra data or something,
it.
just
Yeah.
as an experiment.
That's exactly what I was.
Or you could also use it if you got a second number. Say you're a tradie,
That's right,
work number,
mate. The
private
number one use of an eSIM is for people who are carrying 2 phones around, and I don't care what you tell me. That's rubbish, because with focus mode, you can say I'm on weekend mode now, and so all your work emails and things don't appear.
Yeah.
And you can actually then activate your private SIM.
And it's easy to tell what call's coming through from which SIM, isn't it? As well.
Yes, it tells you, and
it tells you.
you can make certain calls. So if I make a call to you on the eSIM,
Yep.
and then I deactivate the eSIM, like I turn it off in the settings, and I'm only using the physical SIM, and I go to call you again, it'll say last number not in use. Are you sure you want to do this? Just their way of saying,
'Cause the
just so
number
you know,
you
I'm
dialed
using
from.
a different
Okay.
SIM now.
Yep.
So it's very good, and you know what the big thing is, you say this is my data SIM and this is my other SIM.
Okay.
So both phones.
So you can designate that. So you.
But you have to. You have
but
to
you-
say which one of them is data.
And
you can't
is-
use both of them for data.
And it's possible to get an eSIM just for data, isn't it? Because the iPad has eSIM.
Yeah.
So you can get a data eSIM.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
For your phone as well, I guess.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah. So the idea is to
Every day's
go.
a school day, don't you reckon? Every day's a
The
school
idea
day.
is to go, what's the cheapest and most effective way to get the most data for me?
Yeah.
And that's always going to be, the big value plans.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I don't want to switch my mobile number to that number, and I get better, I don't know, calls or roaming calls
Yeah.
or whatever. So I'm going to stay with
Yeah.
my big telco for that, and you just have 2 telcos on your phone.
Just getting back to Peter Adderton, I remember years ago, I'm talking 5, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
when we were talking about eSIMs, and it was only 6 years later they finally got eSIMs.
Took a while.
I can remember the story he shared. He goes, for travellers, this would be amazing, because imagine landing in another country.
Yes.
You look in their in-flight magazine, scan a code, and before you get to the gate, you could have had your plan and activated, ready to go.
Correct, yeah.
So that's the other advantage.
They
of an
could,
eSIM.
you know how they hand out bloody cards in the plane. They could do a deal
Yeah.
with an airline to hand out a card, because the QR code does need to be specific to every
Yes.
phone, but like literally a QR code that activates on the phone
Yeah.
a SIM.
Boom.
Boom, and then it just gives them $5 credit for them to open
Yeah.
up the app and then work out what they want to do with their life and how many minutes they want to buy and all
It's
that
a
kind of
brave
rubbish.
new world, mate.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, details techguide.com.au and EFTM.com.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is also proudly supported by Arlo for all your security needs. Now, it was Valentine's Day earlier this week.
Hello.
And Arlo, did you get a lot of cards and flowers and things?
I
Or
just
chocolates.
I had to lock the front door. It was annoying. The messages.
Your letterbox just exploded.
It was overwhelming.
They've got a sale. Arlo's got a Valentine's Day sale, would you believe? And it runs from the 15th to the 18th. So getting quick. You might be listening to this after the 18th, but you know what? They'll still have other specials. But the offer is 20% off store-wide. So 20% off the essential cameras, 20% off the essential video doorbell camera, the essential indoor camera, and even those other, the ultra cameras. They are also 20% off store-wide. So getting quick. It's the 18th of February is your last day. So if you want to get a bargain, then all these great products that we've spoken about, 20% off. And look, if you're thinking now is the right time to maybe upgrade your security or maybe buy your first security camera, how can you resist that? 20% off store-wide. So whether you want to start maybe with the video doorbell, I think the movie we're doing in next week, they could have had a great use of a video doorbell. You'll have to listen to our show about Scarface to know what I'm talking about. You might even want to maybe start off with an essential outdoor camera. So you want to have maybe the camera on the front door connected to your Wi-Fi, and you'll be able to get all the notifications. You see if you're expecting a package. You can, through the video doorbell, you get 1-to-1, 180-degree field of view. You can talk to people really easily through the two-way audio as well. So you know what's going on at your house. You get all these great notifications as well. The essential indoor camera too is the difference with that camera is it has a privacy shield. So if you know the shield is activated, it's not recording, unable to record. But when you leave and something happens in your home, that privacy shield is going to open and detect any kind of movement. So the essential range is a really good entry point, but all those other cameras too, the ultras, the packs as well, are available and included in this 20% off store-wide sale. So check it out, arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
I'm getting a bit wild here right now, but
You were
okay,
connected.
just give you this one, Simon. Hey. We don't want to get copyright strikes right now.
Mate.
I've gotten rid of that real quick.
She won the Super Bowl the other day? Taylor Swift won the Super Bowl.
Her
Did you hear about this?
boyfriend
And
was
her
playing
boyfriend had to go
sport
too.
at Usher's concert. Did you see that one? I
Yeah,
thought that
I
was
did see
pretty
that.
funny.
That was clever. But the way they covered the game is like she won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I think she did.
And it was the most watched telecast in history, right? And I'm telling you, the Tay-Tay factor played a part. Because I reckon so many viewers who are fans think, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. I might see Taylor Swift.
So many dads had to watch the Super Bowl with their daughters for the first time in history.
There was a few Super Bowl ads just like that, by the way.
Oh, really?
There was a really cool ad. I think it was, I'm trying to remember the brand, but it was a dad and the daughter's in the bedroom, and he goes, look, and he pulls out a jersey. Do you want to watch the game with me? And then, they're all...
Was the girl making makeup?
Cream. Yeah, it was
so
makeup.
there's controversy about that ad.
Really?
Because that ad is a rip-off of a TikTok where the woman who did was doing the makeup. It was a staged TikTok, so they're filthy that they stole the idea.
Hello.
Anyway, Taylor Swift
Lawsuit.
has landed in Australia because when we're recording, she's actually in the air from
mid-air,
Honolulu,
she's
but
coming through,
she arrives at midnight. And
She knows what time she arrives.
I checked.
And I understand the Long family has tickets.
This is
Am I right?
unbelievable.
Am I right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I logged on yesterday at 4 o'clock. Amanda logged on yesterday.
Yep.
And I got this stupid, waiting window thing. Then Amanda emails me. She goes, oh, my God, I think I got them. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she sent me the picture. And I'm like, oh, my God, you got tickets. This is unbelievable.
Boom.
Like the worst tickets you could possibly have at a core stadium because they're like
Really?
behind the stage, up the back. And I said to
obscured
Victoria,
view
before
and
Amanda
stuff.
could bring up a map, I said, listen, just so you know, you're going to be sitting in the back row. You're going to be able to see the bit where she walks out on the catwalk thing and does that,
right.
but you're not going to be able to see the main stage. Bub, who cares?
You're gonna
she
be
goes,
there.
oh,
You're
I don't
there.
care. She's like, I don't care.
Is
Doesn't
she a
care.
big fan? Your daughter,
Massive
or?
fan.
Yeah, really?
Massive
Wow.
fan. Yeah.
Has been a while, or since she was coming to Australia?
Oh, no, she's always
She's always been a fan?
Always been
Okay.
a fan.
She's a Swiftie? Been a Swiftie
she's
from
a
way
Swiftie.
back?
She makes the bracelets and all that rubbish. Anyway, so the thing is, I did this story on a current affair last week with Deb Knight, and when I agreed to do it, I was like, okay, whatever, this is fine. But then Deb sat down and she showed me what happened to her. Yeah. And, mate, what blew my mind was seeing tickets in an Apple Wallet. I did not realise how easy that is to dupe.
Really?
into fake. There's a website you
Yeah.
go to. You just type in what you want the Apple Wallet thing to say, what
Wow.
image
so it's
and
like
whatnot.
an API, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just a website, and then you send a link, and it just adds that to the wallet, right?
Really?
Because I'm looking at Deb's, I'm holding Deb's phone and swiping through. She's got 4 tickets to Taylor Swift. Now, having done my research before going into doing a current affairs story, I knew that basically you had to have been sent them via Ticket Tech app. That's the first way of knowing. Secondly, if you paid more than 10%, you got ripped off because it's illegal to pay more than 10% for a traded ticket.
So 10% above the normal price?
Above the normal price.
Yep.
And thirdly, there's no barcode. There's no barcode on the ticket.
A
And
little
Deb's,
padlock, yeah, I
Deb's
saw that.
ticket had
a
the barcode.
QR code. Yeah.
QR code on it. And so I knew straight away. So what happened with Deb was, and this, the reason I want to bring this up, not because we're Taylor Swift fans, couldn't care less. It's interesting, and she will probably cause inflation problems in Australia in the next month, which is hope the Reserve Bank's
across it. A lot of people are spending money. Is that good?
That's what I mean. That's bad.
going to make inflation.
It's going to ruin.
Right.
Anyway.
What cost of living crisis?
Exactly. I'm really nervous, Steve, and I don't want to predict this, but I'm really nervous that tens, maybe hundreds of people will
Are
turn
gonna
up to the turnstiles
I know,
with buzzers that don't beep. You know, their phones are going to go,
That's going
bah.
to be heartbreaking.
And imagine, I said to Deb, imagine you didn't realise that you were scammed here, and we'll go through why. And she had her 8-year-old daughter with her, and have to turn to your 8-year-old daughter and say, we're at the gates of the concert and we can't get in because these are not real.
And also
So-
the money they spent too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
They would have parted with some cash.
But mate, all the money in the world doesn't change the fact that you've got to tell an 8-year-old she can't go in, right? So I'm pleading with people who did not buy
Check
So
your
if you
tickets.
bought from Ticket Tick, good luck to you. But if you bought from someone else, check your ticket. If it has a barcode on it today and you're days away from the concert,
It's not real.
it's not real.
So the QR code goes active on the day of the concert?
I think it's on the day of the concert,
Which is smart.
And so what happened to Deb, and I think this is what will happen to a lot of people over the last few months, is someone on Facebook said, I'm injured and I can't go to Taylor Swift now, or I've got to work and I can't go. I've got tickets to sell. DM me. And so you DM them and they go, I'm gutted, I can't go. And this was a friend of a friend for Deb,
Is that
but
what
anyway,
happened for her?
broadly.
Yeah, I heard. I
and
watched the story.
They're like, how much is it? And this one, it was like $1,200, which was way more inflation. But anyway.
But didn't that ring alarm bells if her she thinking
No,
it's
because
weighted
you'd
more
pay
than 10%?
anything. No, because she didn't know about the 10% rule. And also, it's happening on Facebook. You can charge whatever you want on Facebook. It's only in the Ticket Tech marketplace where they can monitor the sale price of the ticket.
So if I had a ticket in my Ticket Tech app, I can sell that?
You can sell it through
But
the Ticket Tech marketplace, which is a legitimate,
And
place
you can't
to
charge
sell.
more than 10%
Can't
extra.
charge more than 10%. But what you
10%
can
margin.
do, what you could do is you could say to me, I'm going to charge. I'll send you $1,000 for the ticket, and I'll be like, I'll give you $1,000, and then you can you can legitimately share me the ticket via the Ticket Tech app.
Right.
So you can.
So you
there
do
is
the
a black
deal
market.
outside of Ticket Tech?
Correct.
Right, understand.
But these ones are happening on Facebook, and they're not. And you're being emailed
And it's a friend
the
of
ticket.
a friend. And
You're being emailed the ticket. It's not appearing in your Ticket Tech wallet. It's appearing in your Apple wallet.
But did she would have thought, though, as you said, when it appeared in her Apple Wallet, she goes, this is legit.
I thought it was legit when
And
I
you
saw it.
thought,
This is
hang on.
amazing.
Yeah, wow. And so then when she went, uh-oh.
It was kind of when she went to thank the person, and there was there was this weird back and forth, and she's like, hang on a minute, this is weird. And then she's trying to, so because it was a friend of a friend, she's trying to ring the friend, and the friend's like, oh my God, I don't know what's happened here. And then she tracked down the girlfriend of the person whose account she'd been dealing with, and they go, no, the account's been hacked.
Oh, no.
So that's when they knew that all hell had broken loose. And she rings the bank, and luckily the person hadn't touched the money yet, so they were able to get the money
really?
back.
Oh, so she never lost the money?
Didn't lose the money.
Great.
But and I don't.
What would happen would you have protection, say, through PayPal? Would PayPal protect all that?
No, because what they do, I've learnt this, is what they do is they make it, on PayPal you can sell something, but you can also just send a friend money.
Yeah.
There's no protection to that. Selling something, there's protection.
You're bound with protection, yeah.
But when you just send someone money via email, so like when I buy the iPhone dummies,
it's like when you
it's just some bloke in China with his PayPal address.
It's like when you transfer money through a bank account, you can't get that back.
That's what Deb did, and she got it back.
Really?
It was a BSB and account number, and the bank was able to retrieve it.
My question has always been this, right? You got this person's BSB number
I know.
and account number. Can't you just say, get them, that's them?
So my point is, we've got a Facebook account that's been hacked here, but we might also have a bank account that's been hacked. Right? So we don't know that person hasn't also been hacked.
Well, doesn't that, it's a trail, though, to whoever did this thing.
Yes, but all they're doing is going to a bank and withdrawing the cash. They might have, seriously, this could happen. Let's say someone grabbed your wallet and had also been socially engineering you for the last month. So they've got your wallet and they've got into your bank account and your email. So now they can get into your bank account, give people the BSB number. Now they can go to an ATM and they can withdraw the money.
Yeah, right.
So very hard, really, to track them down.
Bastards.
So the reason I bring this up is I got some data from the NAB this week,
Yeah.
and this is interesting. They say they've noticed a block of $285,000 worth of ticket scams in the last 3 months because in the NAB app, and we've argued for this kind of thing on a big scale, the NAB will warn people when it's their first transaction or potentially suspicious transaction.
Yep.
They'll warn people that it might be a scam, and
In
so they
real
say
time.
that people that warning has made people abandon $285,000 worth of transactions.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I got to be honest, I question. So I know I'm with CommBank and ANZ. CommBank's app's very good. I think the ANZ app leaves a lot to be desired in this space, and I think that these companies have got to invest in this because we've talked about it before. The bank is the one that's the last line of defence.
Absolutely right. And I think, and if you know a bank's got your back there, you'll likely do business with them.
I think so too.
I would change banks if you knew this one was safer than the other one.
It's great that we all want immediate real-time payments, right? I get it. We want that. But everyone should understand the first time you give someone money, it's going to take 24 hours.
There should be a cooling off period,
And so I think about like my builder. You know, we've got like 5 installments of these renovations, and the deposit went through after a day and a half.
Yep.
But the next installment, much bigger amount of money, went through in an instant because I'd formed this relationship.
Yeah, right.
So that's the way it should be. I think once you've formed a relationship, it should be.
I've had that.
Make
There's a
instant
guy who came and did some work on my car, and I said, I've transferred the money. He goes, I haven't seen it yet. I said, well, look, you're a new person for me. Transfer. It's going to take 24 hours. And in that 24 hours, if I found out he dudded me or was a scammer, I could shut that down.
Yeah.
So, we need that little cooling off period.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. It should have another name for stopping an app. It's like your scam stop, something like that.
Scam stop period.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was with friends in Melbourne last week, and they were going to Tay with mates.
Yeah.
And we watched the current
She's
affairs
in
story
Melbourne
together.
first day. That's her first one.
Yeah. And I swear to God, they wouldn't show me their tickets. And I'm so nervous that they bought them from someone wrongly. But they were. I think the real reason is because they're going with friends who had extra tickets, and they've just paid the people that were originally going to go. They've paid them off essentially because they can't
There's a
go.
bit of anxiety out there.
But I'm seriously nervous for anyone who did not sit and wait 2 hours for a ticket and get it through the right process, through any secondary process. Check your ticket.
But you know what?
I don't want you to be disappointed at the gate. It's sad.
Yeah, no, of course. But it's when you think about it, it's a smart scam. People are jumping all over it, right? A lot of demand. So there's all the factors are there to draw you in.
If someone like we were lucky, Amanda got 2 tickets yesterday. Unbelievable, so good.
Yeah, wow.
If I came across a way like someone in my Facebook feed that said I've got 2 tickets, DM me, I'd DM them. But I'd find another way to. Now I'd be like double verifying. I'd want a video phone call with them.
Of course you would. Yeah.
Another way of verifying that they were real.
You can leave me a license until I verify this.
Yeah. Anyway, it's still sad that scammers exist, but they are forever going to exist. The bludgers.
Yeah, unbeliable.
Two blokes talking Tay-Tay. Who'd have thunk it?
Shake it off.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
I just can't believe I'm tracking Taylor Swift's plane. I mean, it's wild, isn't it?
It's tragic. You're doing this for your daughter's benefit, or just you?
Just so that as a dad, I can say she arrived. She arrived at midnight last night. Because everyone this morning was like, she's left for Melbourne. I'm like, she's actually left for Honolulu. She's got to fuel up there.
Yeah.
The jet.
Her own plane,
the jet doesn't make it that far.
Her own jet.
She was on the ground.
The Swifty jet.
Yeah, she was on the ground for 1 hour in Honolulu. Yeah. She didn't go shopping. She got
sat
fuel
on the plane,
and got out of there.
Stretched her legs and then out you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she can stretch her legs pretty well on the plane.
Got a coffee here maybe, or just fresh air.
Fresh
air.
Bit of Hawaiian air.
Yeah. Hawaii's great.
You love Hawaii.
I love Hawaii.
I'm going to go.
Have you ever
day.
been?
No.
Take your missus, mate. When your kids are a bit older, take your missus. That's a lovely trip. Joe and I, we've got a big Europe trip this year, but I reckon probably next year we might head back there. We'll see.
Oh, we're doing very well.
You know, you got to do it, mate. Plan ahead, buddy. Plan ahead, mate. This like our Europe trip. We booked it a year ago, so it's there.
Very good.
Yeah. So
all right.
Get cracking, mate.
See you next week, bud.
Bye.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.